welcome to another edition of Chocolate Talk, Chocolate Thoughts, and I have with me the beautiful and happy birthday to
Tyanna.
Okay, Tyanna is a 99 baby, honey. That's a great number, 99.
Mm-hmm.
And then our beautiful co-host, Conishiwa,
Coco.
and then me, Jeffrey.
Oh, don't downplay yourself.
Oh, I'm not. Trust me. Trust
And the
believe.
fabulous Jeffrey.
That's me.
Yes. So this week we're going to get into some current events. This week has been like a crazy week of people dying, sudden death that was expected. But, you know, it's always funny when people die and they're in their 90s and everyone's like, gone too soon. Like, really? She was 96. She done lived a life. But let's get into it. So I'm going to start with the most shocking death of the week. I don't know if you guys are fans, but the comedian David Arnold.
That's the guy you had me watch the comedy special, right? When I went over your house? Okay, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he's a comedian out of Cleveland, but his claim to fame was he was a big-time writer in a writer's room for like a lot of shows. He did some Tyler Perry shows, Fuller House, and then he created that show, That Girl Lele.
Was Fuller House a black?
No, that's the
It's the
spinoff of
spinoff
Full
of
House.
Full House, I know, but I just never saw Fuller House either.
Oh, it's
but
on
I've never
Netflix.
heard of him, so this is my first time hearing from him. But I was just shocked that he died at 53 from natural causes. I'm like thinking,
Yeah.
What natural causes?
Well, they haven't released them.
Yeah, I noticed I didn't see it in any of the information I was reading.
Yeah, so I think what it was, I mean, you know, what natural cause would take you suddenly? A heart attack?
yeah, a stroke could take you, a heart attack, you can choke.
Yeah.
But I'm just like natural causes, like it would be.
Didn't wake up?
I know, and like how could you just not? Yeah, I mean I don't
Yeah.
know. It's just, but also with COVID, I'm thinking that they bring on illnesses that some people may have that are lying dormant. And all of a sudden you've had COVID, then all of a sudden they see all these health issues that come along where people may have now. So now all of a sudden, one of my clients happened to lose a lot of weight, and I'm like, oh my gosh, what are you doing? And all of a sudden she's like, oh Jeffrey, I found out I have diabetes 1, and I'm like, oh my God.
Wow.
But yeah, but I thought that she was trying to do a weight loss, and she never mentioned it to me until she came back from vacation. And then she's like, yeah, I found out I have diabetes 1, and so I'm not having to take insulin yet, blah, 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 blah. So those are all different things. Like you just don't know, and it just happens all of a sudden.
Yeah.
So I feel so sad for the family. I mean, and now I want to watch some of his shows, but the first time I saw Arnold, immediately I thought Tom Arnold.
Oh. And you were going to be like, and are we sad?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
I don't know. I guess for me, because I feel like I just caught up to him and I didn't know him prior to his comedy special that was on Netflix during the pandemic. I watched it and I was like, this guy is funny. Then I found out he was from Cleveland. He taped it in Cleveland. So then I started to like watch him, and I felt like I was a part of his life because his Instagram is him, his wife, and his kids, and it's nonstop funny. And I felt like he was a friend in my head or a family member. So to hear about his death, I was like, dang. And it just, it saddened me because I was just like, dang, how so soon? What happened?
And I'm also, because Cleveland, Ohio, that's your
Right?
hometown, stomping grounds.
Right? Come
I got
on now,
some
me
Ohio
and Tai
girls.
Tai.
Okay.
Me and Tai Tai. So yeah.
So, sorry, condolences to his family.
Yeah.
At 54, that's the height of his career, so we feel sorry for that loss.
Yeah. And then moving on to the next death that was kind of expected, Queen Elizabeth of England. Was she the second or the first? No, she was second. Queen Elizabeth II is no longer of the living. And I'm one of those people, I kind of buy into the royal family. I think it's fun. I don't know too much more about it culturally. But then I was like, oh, okay, well, she reigned for 70-something years. That is a long reign.
She's 96. It was time for her to go. Not saying it's a bad thing.
Right.
At least she didn't die. I mean, we all expected for her to pass. However, for me, it's like I love the fantasy of the royal family. I don't like how they did Meghan Markle. I also, with the colonization and everything, and yes, it's one of those tragic things because she's almost like if we become fans of hers, basically, right? So yeah, we do mourn that loss, but I'm like, okay, but it's time for you to go. It's time for that monarch to change hands. You're 96 years old. We expected for you to leave. I'm glad that they're sending her off in the celebration. So that's a great thing.
Any thoughts, Tyanna? You real quiet.
I'm sure. I was gonna say I'm sure. I was gonna ask like when is the funeral, but I'm sure it's gonna be televised. But yeah, I mean, I like the whole idea of in fantasy of like the royalty and the prince and the princess. I mean, that's why Disney is so huge, you know. So of course it's very attractive and you know it draws me in. But I haven't told you guys, I used to have the biggest crush on Prince Harry. So yeah, so you know, right. And then when he ended up with an African American woman, I said I knew I felt something.
You probably did. Listen, I'm sure if you met him on a late night, he would have been open to it. But with her passing, Black Twitter has been on fire. And the memes, I'm going to just share some of these memes with y'all. So here's one. Everybody, can y'all take this seriously? And then he's singing Impossible. So, and then there's another one. Y'all, Queen died, but mine cooking in the kitchen. And it's as if they don't even care. And then there's another one. How can you laugh about her death? And the Caribbean people are laughing.
Right, and Africans, okay?
Yes, and I'm like...
Colonization.
Yeah, so it says rest in power, and then a Black woman says, rest in what? I'm like, they're really coming for her. And I'm wondering, because I don't really know too much about what her politics were and how she ruled, but what you were saying, the colonization, a lot of Black people, they're saying Black Twitter and Irish Twitter is going in on her death. And I'm like,
I can imagine.
All right.
Especially because, you know, Ireland has a rocky relationship with them. Mm-hmm. So, yeah, they're almost like the ghetto of England or Europe.
Oh, I didn't know that.
So, yeah, I can totally understand with that. But I'm with the Black Twitter girl. And it's nothing, and I understand people and them losing their families, but I'm with the I'm with Black Twitter, especially African and Caribbean Twitter, honey, because the colonization, like shit, Barbados just were denounced from, what is it? They just got their own.
Their independence.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. So it's like, hello, go Rihanna.
Yes. And it's also one of those things where it's out of sight, out of mind, so then you don't know about it.
Right.
But then somebody else will come in and be like, ha, don't be fooled by the rocks that she got, because Queen Elizabeth was dirty. And she has some dirty antics. Mm-hmm. Also, I read that Meghan Markle wasn't invited to the viewing of Queen Elizabeth, like when she first passed. Harry rushed over there by himself, and rumor has it that Meghan wasn't invited to come and be by her bedside. Only Harry was. Although Meghan did go to London with him.
Right.
She
wasn't invited. So I'm like, what in the...
Well, hold on. I'm going to throw a little...
Okay, come on.
You know, I like to sometimes throw a different perspective in there. It may not have been a racist thing or an outsider thing. It may have just been like, if I'm passing, these are my grandsons. You know, I don't want a bunch of people in the room while I'm passing away. Like, you may just want the close-knit family.
That's understandable.
So if William's wife was in there, now I'm going to say...
She was.
Okay, well then, hold up. You know what I mean? That's different. Okay, so I can see that. I didn't know who was in the room.
Well, I looked at it as this, because they did... leave the throne. They left all their royalty. They were probably like, well, you ain't blood, and you denounce being a part of the royal family. So you no longer exist in our royal eyes. Although I felt that, you know, in her Meghan Markle special, that she was like, her and the queen had a special bond. And then she even named her daughter after the queen. So I'm like, well, were y'all close? Or is this the powers that be, the succession crew that's coming in saying, we don't want you in here, Meghan, because you ain't nothing but trouble.
Yeah, because it may not have been the queen herself.
Right. And I don't think the queen, she don't have no
she wasn't even in that state of mind. I'm sure
Right,
none of your passing. I think that it could be the people around. I do think that because they weren't there, maybe, you know, like it's almost like if a family member is with you all the time, and then Prince Kate, or what's her name, Princess Kate?
Yeah, Kate.
She's always kind of there. So it's almost like, okay, she's just going to be there. And especially because her husband is next in line for the throne. So it's like, okay, he is going to be king. So she is going to be a queen. So it's like, hello, I have issues with the queen consort, to be honest. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm a Princess Di fan all day. And so,
So go in a little bit more about queen consort. Talk a little bit about her.
Oh, yeah. Well, well, because I'm like a little Princess Diana fan, and the queen consort was now King Charles III's mistress all these years. Imagine Diana finding out about them, him still falling in love with her, him still having loving her, and even when they were married, he was sending, while they were getting married, their wedding day, he's still reaching out to this person who he was in love with. Instead of him just marrying her from the beginning, he let Princess Di on this long, you know, well, at least she has royal heirs. And if she was still living, she would be the queen right now.
Right. And the controversy behind that is the royal family didn't like Camilla.
Correct.
So they forced him to find somebody else. And he always had Camilla. So then that's when, you know, him and Di had their issues, and we would see her a lot in public. Like this was, I guess, early 80s, 90s, whatever. We would see her out in public by herself or with the babies, but she would never be with him because she had already lost interest. And at that point, you know, rumor has it Harry ain't even his.
Okay.
It's the bodyguards.
I will say that Harry looks like his daddy.
Which daddy?
Prince Charles.
Oh.
King Charles. Like, to me, he looked like his dad. You know what I'm saying? Only with red hair. I'm like thinking, okay, nah.
Which daddy? We gonna have to pull up some pictures of the bodyguard because.
Baby, and you already know that they done did a DNA.
I know they did a DNA.
You know, boo boo, baby, they done did a DNA, honey. It is no way.
Right. They ain't gonna let that go through the water.
I'm like, girl, they done did that DNA. Ooh.
So let's just talk about how this succession works, because I was flabbergasted. The girl ain't even 5 minutes in the grave, and he already doing a concession speech and whatever, succession speech. I was like, dang, can you let your mama rest for 5 seconds?
I think it's more of a tradition thing. And I think that because they knew that this time was going to come, and he's been preparing for it his entire life. So, like, it would be like, okay, but I'm, you know, like, if it was just your grandma and then the first son saying, okay, y'all, we're in this, then I could see something. But for him, she is 96, so imagine at 50 years old, and he's almost dying too. So he's
72.
He probably got 12 years left.
Yeah.
And so, like, he has been waiting. So it's like, oh, shit, I finally get a chance to do this before I goddamn die. So it's great for him.
And I think about The Crown in the show. I don't know if y'all watched the show The Crown.
I watched a couple seasons.
When her dad died, it was almost like instantly they were like, okay, we got to crown her. We got to make the announcement. We got to keep the people so they don't get like nervous or scared about like what's going on with the succession, what's going to happen with the monarchy. So it could be something like that, like let's reassure and show, you know, this solid front of like, everything is going to be taken care of, even with the passing of the queen.
Yeah, it's just the whole, like, who takes next was fascinating to me, because I was like, well, she got all these other kids. How did it become Charles? Well, he's the oldest son.
Right.
So then he takes the throne, and then after him is his oldest son. So then it's William, and then after William is his oldest son.
Right, the little kids. And so, like, Harry's at number 6 or number 5?
Harry, what you mean?
Because Harry comes after all 3 of his kids, even his little girl.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. So it's the Prince William.
Yep.
It's his first son, his second son, and then his
the daughter.
And then it goes to Prince Harry. And then from Prince Harry, it goes to his 2 kids.
Yep.
Wow.
And
then it goes to the brother of Prince Charles's family. It's crazy, and I was fascinated by it because I was like, I've never seen anything like that in my life.
And then you see like the Duchess of Wales, their kids in there, and I'm thinking, oh, I didn't even know their kids could be in line for the throne. But it's like, was that 28 or something like that?
Yeah.
20. It's like they already have everybody in line 28. But it's interesting, and it's like, okay, what a family tree. It looks like a family tree. It really, really does. But it's interesting because when you look at it, I didn't even like even the daughter, Prince Edward's, King Charles's sister. I don't think she has kids, and that's why she's not in line for the throne. And so, yeah. Well, she is, but they're like number 17 or something like that.
Right.
So they're way, way, way.
We ain't gonna get to you.
Hell no.
In your lifetime.
In nobody's lifetime. You know what I'm saying? You can just say, I was 23 in line for the crown.
Right. But it reminds me, y'all ever watch that show Succession?
No.
So Succession is basically that. It's a father who built this business from the ground up, and whose next in line is his oldest son. But he don't trust his oldest son. So the father is battling dementia, but he'd be damned if he give his oldest son his company.
Okay.
So what he's been doing is running it, but having his daughter be his voice, his mouthpiece, his everything.
Okay. So with Succession, is it like a Spanish thing?
Nah, it's
oh no, I was thinking that maybe I've seen like a snippet of it.
Nah, it's American. It's on HBO. It's really good. They're an American family, but they have all this money and this wealth, and they're corrupt.
Girl.
And everybody in the family is corrupt. So it reminded me of this royal family because we know they corrupt too.
Okay.
You don't get there by being nice, I guess. That's the whole thing.